Hey everybody, it's Tim Larkin. Today I'm going to go over key self-defense concepts you got to know whether you're going to train or not. And, that's the funny part about self-protection. It's a skill set everybody needs training in. That doesn't mean you have to always train physical, but there's a lot of key concepts that if you're aware of this, you can minimize the chance of violence ever coming into your life. But before we get there, please subscribe to the channel, make your comments, get the notifications, and share the channel. We've been growing really fast, been getting amazing feedback from you guys, but it's all because of you. Thank you. Okay, so the setup for this, again, this is from an interview that I did a while ago with Lewis Howes, School of Greatness. Awesome podcast. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. Lewis is just, he's just world class. He has amazing people in there. But we did an interview a year ago, or about 2 or 3 years ago, actually. And it was funny. I was going through it, and I've shared some of the excerpts from it. This particular excerpt really hit me because this is the key question I get from people, especially people that say, I don't have time to train for self-defense, self-protection. So we're going to go over, I'm going to let the video speak for itself, and then I'll have some closing comments. But again, the whole time, ask yourself, have you made any of these mistakes? Have you made any of these assumptions? If so, I'm hoping this content will help change that. All right, let's get to it.
People listening are never going to take a self-defense class.
Yep.
But they're listening here, and you've got a few minutes to share with them some basic training, verbally or if they're watching on the video. What would you say are the main things they should be focused on when they feel an attack, hand-to-hand, no weapon, but just a physical attack? In it, this is hard to, I guess, put parameters, but just in a normal setting, normal violent setting.
The one thing that I would absolutely tell everybody to do, and it's going to sound like a pat answer, and it's not. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues. Pay attention to your situations, and I'll tell you, I talk to everybody that's had. As I told you, 70% of people come to me after the fact, after violence has already affected their lives.
Because they don't want it to happen again. They want to be ready for it.
Yeah, they want. It's kind of like everybody buys a burglar alarm after you've had the break-in,
right?
Type thing. I can't undo what's already been done, but I can give them principles and methods to make sure that it minimizes the chance of it happening again. One of the things that I've learned is when I walk people back, people normally will come to a point to where I felt uncomfortable here. Mm-hmm. But socially it would have been awkward for me to do X, Y, or Z, so I continued on. And then by the time it got to here, it was already, we're talking about, like you're saying, hey, hands-on physical. If it gets hands-on physical and you have nothing in the toolbox, I can tell you, hey, do whatever it takes, but you don't know whatever it takes. You haven't thought about that. So yes, you're going to, if somebody is putting their hands on you and you're facing grievous bodily harm, and you need to be able to physically protect yourself. Most people, though, can avoid 99% of those incidents by following all these nonverbal cues that we get. Our body communicates to us in much different ways.
Fear, sensory.
Yeah, all these things. And be okay with being embarrassed. Be okay with looking, ridiculous.
Better to look ridiculous and be alive.
Absolutely. I had a friend's wife who, she was a teacher. She was a PhD, and she was finishing up before she got her PhD, she was finishing up at grad school one night. She was parked on the 3rd floor. Her friends were parked on the 2nd floor. Her friends said, hey, we'll drive you up, drop your car. It wasn't too bad. It was like, probably 9:30 at night. It was in San Diego. And she was like, oh, no, there's no reason. Even though there's a sketchy guy that was walking around in there. And she felt bad because she thought maybe she was judging this guy. So she lets her friends go to the car. She comes up. Now, luckily, she's one of my instructor's wives, and she had been through not a lot of training. She'd only been through like one of our weekend programs, and it's like 2 years prior. When she got to the 3rd floor, the door opens, and there he is.
No
She's
way.
Literally right there.
That's freaky.
And she just knew right away. She had her briefcase in her hand, and she just rammed her briefcase into his groin. And then she was able to hit him in the side of the neck. Now, she's a little woman. She was like 5'1", and this guy was much bigger. But, he reacted to the strike to the groin, and then the neck was exposed, and she was able to hit the neck and hit it onto the side of the door, the elevator door, that knocked him out. at that point. You know, it was because he was not expecting this.
Sure.
You know, and she felt threatened right away. And this is what I'm talking about women. You know, she didn't hesitate. She knew there was something wrong. Wait a minute. He was just on the first floor. He saw me say goodbye to my friends. I come up, and he's not just like there. He's right there, you know, we're getting in there. So she didn't hesitate, which to her credit, you know, probably saved her from a physical assault. Now, the question a lot of people say, well, gee, what, you know, like
maybe he wasn't going to do anything.
What was he going to do? You know, maybe it was a huge misunderstanding. And her husband says the same thing every time. He goes, well, I'm really happy it turned out that way. Mm-hmm. He said, because I still have my wife, my sons still have their mom, and it could have been that way. But what they do know is by the time security got up there, that guy was gone. You know, he was out of there. So, you know, most likely he wasn't planning anything, you know, good. But those are the type of stories that I tell because, you know, everybody goes, wow, that's amazing. You know, look, oh, she knew how to, and you're thinking, oh, okay, briefcase to the groin and then side of the neck. You're thinking wrong because what she kicks herself about is she said, I knew, and I ignored it because it was socially awkward. I didn't want to put my friends out. I didn't want to do that. And she almost had a horrible thing happen to her, you know, and she was able to avoid it. And it was just because she did have something in the toolbox, she was able to protect herself.
But she shouldn't even have to go there.
That's
just
what
take the ride when she had the feeling.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, drive me up. It's 2 minutes extra.
That's the goal. That's the goal with every one of my clients.
Or someone walk with me up there, whatever. Yeah.
I had a client. I was talking. I just was thinking about this guy the other day. He was an Texas oil guy. This is probably about 15 years ago. Big dude, and just you could tell former Texas A&M football player. Yeah. He just liked to go to honky tonks and get in fights. He's just one of those guys, a brawler. You know, like not a jerk, but he was looking for fights. You know, he just thought it was fun. And he came to me on the second day of training, and he said to me, he goes, hey, I just want to thank you. And I'm like, you know, what are you talking about? He said, he goes, I called my wife this morning, and I told her, I said, just after the first day of training, he said, I am so lucky all these years that I didn't inadvertently injure somebody, you know, irreparably and, you know, get myself in real bad trouble and be in jail. He goes, and conversely, that I didn't run into somebody that was a true predator that could have easily killed me on that. And he goes, I just want you to know you don't have to worry about me anymore. And his wife was crying on the phone, you know, it was there, but it was a complete behavioral change because when you show people, like people come to me all the time, they'll say, oh, you know, show me, you know, they'll say it half jokingly. They'll say, oh, well, how do you kill a guy? I go, like this. Boom, and I show them 3 or 4 things, you know, real quick. Boom, boom, they go, whoa, no, that's not what, I mean, what scares them is it's so easy.
Yeah.
The human body is very fragile. I mean, we have tons of articles of 2 guys getting in an argument, one guy pushing the other guy braining himself, and he's dead. Okay, so
in the back of his neck or his head.
So that idea of, you know, when you're talking about just pure violence, it's extremely easy to injure somebody. So they'll say something like that, and then they'll want to back off. And they'll say, no, I just want to hurt him just enough. You know, I just want to do it.
To get away.
And the problem is there's no guarantees when you cross that physical plane. You know,
with adrenaline and power.
You don't know how it's going to act. I mean, I show videos all the time in training where I'll show the epic bar brawl where there's 2 guys just slugging it out, and it's horrific. You know, I mean, they're really going at each other. But at the very end, they both walk away, and you know, it's one of those type of deals. Then I'll show another scenario. Looks very similar at the start. One guy hits another guy. That guy hits the floor, cracks his head, and he's dead. This guy's facing manslaughter now.
Wow.
And it's over like that. The same exact type of scenario. It was just luck of the draw that one didn't happen. And so you ask yourself all the time, you go, was that necessary? You know, I talk about the idea of looking at an event 3 days from now. Is it going to really affect you? You know, before you want to take that action, like on a road rage incident, you know, guy cuts you off, especially, you know, here we're back in LA again. You know, for me, I brings back some amazing road rage stories, you know, from living here. But that urge, before you do that, you go, are you willing to take the consequences of this? Because what you think is going to be maybe just a verbal or a gesture exchange could easily have you run off the road and somebody coming at you for physical violence. It's happened. I've had many of those people show up in my training. And are you prepared for that? And does it pass the 3-day, you know, the 3-day test I talk about all the time is 3 days from now, if you're sitting in a jail cell, you know, about this event saying, okay, was it worth it? You know, at that point, did you really feel your life was in jeopardy and that you had no options and that you were devoid of choice and you had to take action? Very few things meet that threshold. Or the other aspect I ask is, you know, 3 days from now, you're 6 feet under in a grave and your family's lost you and everything. Yeah. Again, do either of those things meet that threshold? And when you look at situations like that, you calm down a lot. You realize, hey, this guy's having a bad day. I'm just going to let him go. I'm going to let him
take
have
a deep
that.
breath. And
Yeah.
stay focused.
I joke with people all the time, kind of half-hearted, and it sounds kind of extreme, but I tell people all the time, I conduct my life in a manner that when I meet people I don't know, I basically assume they're 6 seconds away from a shooting spree. And I don't want to be the one to trigger it.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? It just means all the things that you talk about all the time, how to live a great life, and how to be that person, to that unknown person, even if they're a little bit aggressive with you or something.
Yeah.
Quickly, if you can say, hey, like people talk about this all the time, something as simple as a guy getting aggressive with you or something, you just interrupt them and you just go, hey, I'm Tim.
Yeah.
Hey man, nice to meet you. Sorry about what. As soon as you say, "Hey, I'm Tim" or "I'm Lewis," all of a sudden you're a person now.
Yeah.
And it kind of it does pattern interrupt. But people don't do those things. People let their egos get away, and women are not immune from this. Women, especially on the road race incidents, they get really they get something about getting behind that wheel that they just get very, very free with their gestures.
Sure.
And unfortunately, I've had a lot of them, have incidents where and that's what motivated them to come for training.
Yeah.
On that. So, the physical is an absolute must for people when I have them. I want them to experience the physical because I want them to know what it takes if they ignore everything. So if you're going to ignore that uncomfortable feeling, and you're going to let that social awkwardness, keep you from getting yourself out of that situation. Okay, now I'm going to show you what it's going to take to get out of this, because once it crosses the physical threshold and this person is coming at you for grievous bodily harm, you're going to have to do some very straightforward things to take care of yourself. And do that. And what's interesting is when I kinesthetically link it in with training, then they hear the preventative, the stuff that we've always heard. Hey, don't do the, don't go to the ATM at night. Don't, all those things that you've heard a million times, but you still do whatever you want to do. Once you've had the physical aspect of the training, you understand what it takes. You go, you know what? I can get up 15 minutes early tomorrow and go to the ATM.
I don't need to. I don't want it to get to this point.
Yeah, I can do these behavior modifications.
So that's really the key, guys. Believe me, I love the physical training. I love taking. Obviously, I took it to the level of master close combat instructor. This is what I do. This is my life. I analyze violence all the time. This is it. I'm an outlier, just like everybody else in this field that engages it. We train all the time. Most likely you won't. And that's okay. But what you can't afford not to train is people will talk about situational awareness, but really it's understanding human nature and really understanding the difference between what you have to respond to and what you don't have to respond to. And you need to do that ahead of time. You don't inadvertently want to get into a physical altercation if there was any chance of you getting out of it for various reasons. That 3-day rule, I can't tell you, is just a great way to live your life. Really thinking 3 days from now, is this going to matter? The guy almost cut me off. Yeah, it was dangerous. Yes, I would love to hit my horn. I'd love to go, flip him off. I'd love to go yell at him. It would make me feel good, make my ego feel good. But do I really want to go there? Is this going to matter to me in a couple of days? No, it won't. The other thing, the extreme one that I talk about, that idea of treating everybody that you don't know like they're 6 seconds away from a shooting spree, and you don't want to verbally trigger them. That means you're ultra polite. I laugh all the time because people always say to me, "Oh my God, Tim, you're a big guy, and when I meet you, you're not intimidating. You're a nice guy, and you're funny, and you joke, and you do all that." And I love that, because then I know I have them, because I want people to be very comfortable around me. I don't want people to know that I'm very prepared to use the tool of violence to save my life if I have to. But why trigger it? Why go around thumping your chest? Why be that person? It's just, every professional I know that's really competent with lethal application of violence is usually the most mellow, calm person. They don't trigger it. They understand when they need the tool and when they don't need the tool. So if you mimic that, you can mimic all of that without having the training. And that can minimize the chance of you ever getting involved in a violent situation. And that would be my hope for you. I would highly encourage people to train them, because the great thing about training is when you physically understand what you would have to do to survive a situation, even if it was originally avoidable, it just causes that behavior modification. And that's really what I'm looking for in all of my clients is the behavior modification. I want to minimize the chance of violence ever coming in your life. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share this with your friends. And I look forward to the next one.